The city screamed my name, but not for the reasons I wanted. I stood in the shadow of a towering glass skyscraper, heart pounding, as paparazzi flashbulbs exploded like a summer storm. By morning, every tabloid in New York would scream, Elliot Harper, nobody artist, engaged to billionaire CEO Julian West. I wasn't in love with Julian. Hell, I barely knew him. 3 weeks ago, I was just a painter scraping by in a Brooklyn loft. My canvases more likely to collect dust than dollars. Then Julian, sharp-jawed, impeccably suited, and untouchable, crashed into my life with a proposal that wasn't a question. Pretend to be my fiancé, he'd said, voice like steel wrapped in velvet. Do it, and I'll make your art career soar. I should have said no. But desperation has a way of bending pride. Now, here I was, Elliot Harper, 28, with my messy curls and paint-stained jeans, playing the part of a lovesick fool for a man whose heart was a locked vault. Julian West, 35, was the kind of powerful everyone whispered about, CEO of West Corp, a tech empire that owned half the city's skyline. His name was synonymous with control, ambition, and a carefully curated image. An image that, apparently, needed a gay fiancé to save it from crumbling. The scandal had hit like a freight train. A leaked email from a disgruntled ex-employee claimed Julian was hiding his sexuality, threatening to unravel his pristine reputation. In a world where boardrooms still whispered bigotry behind closed doors, Julian's empire teetered. His solution? Me. A nobody who could play the part of a doting partner, quelling rumors with a public love story. It was a business deal, nothing more. So why did my chest ache every time his cold blue eyes met mine? That first night, at a glittering gala in Manhattan, I learned the rules of our lie. Julian's hand rested on my lower back, guiding me through a sea of champagne flutes and judgmental stares. Smile, he murmured, his breath warm against my ear. They need to believe this. I did, flashing a grin that hid my racing pulse. The crowd ate it up, Julian West, the untouchable bachelor, suddenly smitten with an artist. By midnight, social media was ablaze. West Harper engaged trended worldwide. But the lie wasn't perfect. Julian was a master at control, but cracks showed. A reporter cornered me, asking how we met. I froze, my mind blank. Julian swooped in, spinning a story about a chance encounter at an art gallery. His voice so smooth I almost believed it myself. Elliot's passion for art stole my heart, he said, his hand squeezing mine. The crowd cooed, but his grip felt like a warning. Back at his penthouse, the mask slipped. You need to be sharper, he snapped, pouring himself a whiskey. One slip, and this falls apart. I bristled, hating how small he made me feel. I'm not your employee, Julian. I'm doing this for my career, not your ego. His eyes narrowed, but something flickered, guilt. Maybe. It was gone before I could name it. Days bled into weeks, and the charade grew heavier. We attended charity events, posed for photos, and played the perfect couple. Julian bought me a wardrobe of tailored suits, each one a reminder of my role. But there were moments, quiet ones, where the act felt too real. Like when he laughed at my sarcastic quip during a boring dinner, his smile unguarded for once. Or when he caught me sketching him on a napkin, and instead of scolding me, he said, "You make me look human." I started to notice things about him. The way his jaw clenched when board members whispered. The way he stared out his office window, lost in thoughts he never shared. Julian was a fortress, but I was beginning to see the cracks. And that scared me more than the lie itself. One night, at a rooftop fundraiser, everything shifted. The city sparkled below, and Julian pulled me aside, away from the crowd. "You're doing better than I expected," he said, his voice softer than usual. I smirked. High praise from the king of control. He didn't laugh. Instead, he stepped closer, his hand brushing mine. For a second, I thought he might kiss me, not for the cameras, but for real. My heart stuttered. Then his phone buzzed, and the moment shattered. "Elliot," he said, eyes darkening. "This stays fake." "Understood," I nodded, but the word stung. Because somewhere, deep down, I wasn't sure I wanted it to stay fake anymore. The city never slept, and neither did our lie. Every morning, I woke to new headlines: Julian West and Elliot Harper, the city's new power couple. My art was suddenly in demand. Galleries that once ignored me now begged for my work. Julian kept his promise, but the cost was steep. I was losing myself in the role, and the line between pretense and reality blurred. Julian's world was a maze of power plays and hidden motives. At Westcorp's headquarters, I saw the man he really was: ruthless, calculating, always 3 steps ahead. During a board meeting I was allowed to sit in on, a shareholder questioned our engagement, her voice dripping with skepticism. "Convenient timing, Mr. West." Julian's smile was a blade. "Love doesn't follow a schedule, Margaret." The room laughed, but I saw the steel in his eyes. He wasn't just protecting his name, he was guarding something deeper. Outside the boardroom, he was different with me. Not softer, exactly, but attentive. He'd ask about my art, my process, like he cared. Once, in his sleek office, I caught him staring at a small canvas I'd given him, a stormy abstract in blues and grays. "This is how you see the world?" he asked, almost to himself. I nodded, unsure what to say. "It's chaotic," he murmured. "But beautiful." My heart did that stupid stutter again. The city's obsession with us grew. We were invited to every major event, fashion shows, political fundraisers, even a talk show. On live TV, the host pressed for details. "Elliot, what's it like being engaged to New York's most eligible bachelor?" I glanced at Julian, his expression unreadable. "He's complicated," I said, earning a laugh from the audience. Julian's hand found mine under the table. A silent thank you. Or maybe a warning. But the cracks in our facade widened. One night, at a gallery opening showcasing my work, a stranger approached me. He was older, with sharp eyes and a knowing smirk. "You're good, kid," he said. "But Julian's playing you." Ask him about the email. Before I could respond, he vanished into the crowd. My stomach churned. What did he know? I confronted Julian later, in the back of his chauffeured car. "Who's behind the email leak?" I demanded. His face hardened. "No one you need to worry about." His evasion lit a fuse in me. "I'm risking everything for you, Julian." I deserve the truth. He leaned closer, his voice low. "The truth is dangerous, Elliot. Stay in your lane." I wanted to push, but his eyes held a warning I couldn't ignore. The next day, I found a note slipped under my apartment door. He's not who you think. Check his office safe. My pulse raced. I wasn't stupid. I knew digging could ruin everything. But the seed of doubt was planted. That night, while Julian was at a late meeting, I slipped into his office. The safe was hidden behind a painting, just like the note said. My hands shook as I tried the combination, his birth date. I guess that worked. Inside was a single USB drive. I plugged it into my laptop. Heart hammering. Files. Dozens of them. Emails. Contracts. And a name that kept popping up, Richard Klein, the ex-employee who'd leaked the original email. But there was more, evidence of payoffs, hushed deals, and a photo of Julian with a man I didn't recognize. Their faces too close for business. My stomach dropped. Was this the real Julian? Or was I falling into a trap? I didn't hear him come in. Elliot, Julian's voice was ice. I spun around, the USB still in my hand. What the hell is this? I demanded. For the first time, he looked scared. You shouldn't have done that, he said, stepping closer. You have no idea what you've just started. The air in Julian's office was thick with tension. The city's skyline a silent witness through the floor-to-ceiling windows. I clutched the USB, my mind racing with questions I wasn't sure I wanted answered. Julian's face was a mask, but his eyes betrayed him, fear, anger, and something I couldn't place. Give it to me, he said, his voice low but sharp. I stepped back. Not until you tell me what's going on. He exhaled, running a hand through his dark hair. You're in over your head. Elliot. That drive, it's not just about me. It's about people who'd burn this city down to get what they want. I didn't budge. Like Richard Klein? His jaw tightened. You've been talking to the wrong people. He told me fragments of the truth. Richard Klein was more than an ex-employee. He was a former lover. Someone Julian had trusted until ambition turned him bitter. The leaked email wasn't just a smear, it was revenge. Klein had dirt on Julian, on Westcorp, on deals that skirted legality. Julian's fake engagement to me was a shield, a way to control the narrative and buy time to neutralize Klein. I didn't choose you randomly, Julian admitted, his voice softer. Your art. It's honest. I needed someone the world would believe could love me. His words hit harder than they should have. I wanted to hate him for using me, but the vulnerability in his voice made it impossible. You could have told me, I said. He shook his head. And put you in Klein's crosshairs? No. This was safer. Safer. The word felt like a slap. Nothing about this felt safe. Not the secrets. Not the lie. And definitely not the way my heart raced when he looked at me. The next week was a blur of public appearances and private tension. Julian doubled down on our act, pulling me closer at events, his touches lingering longer than necessary. At a charity auction, he bid a fortune on one of my paintings. His eyes locked on mine as the crowd cheered. For my fiancée, he said, and the room erupted. I smiled, but inside, I was unraveling. Was he playing the part? Or was something real breaking through? Klein's shadow loomed larger. I started noticing things, cars lingering too long outside my apartment, cryptic messages on my phone. You're not his type. Walk away, I showed Julian, expecting him to brush it off. Instead, he hired security, his face grim. Klein's desperate, he said. He knows he's losing. Losing what? I wanted to ask, But Julian was already pulling me into another event, another performance. Then came the night that broke me. We were at a rooftop bar, the city glittering below. Julian was charming the crowd, but I felt like a prop. I slipped away, needing air, and found myself at the edge of the roof. He followed. "Elliot, what's wrong?" His voice was gentle, almost real. I snapped. "I'm tired of being your puppet, Julian. I'm not just some artist you can buy." His face fell. "That's not what this is." He stepped closer, his hand grazing my cheek. "You're more than that." I froze. His touch was electric, and for a moment, I let myself believe it was real. Then a camera flashed from the shadows, and I remembered this was all for show. I pulled away, my voice shaking. "Don't. Just don't." I walked away, leaving him standing there, the city's lights reflecting the chaos in my heart. The lie was suffocating me. I stopped answering Julian's calls, ignored the invites to events. My art suffered, my brushstrokes were angry, jagged, nothing like the vibrant chaos I used to love. I wanted out, but the city wouldn't let me go. Tabloids speculated, trouble in paradise for West and Harper. My phone buzzed with messages from Julian, each one more desperate. "We need to talk." "Please." I agreed to meet him at his penthouse, against my better judgment. He looked different, tired, his usual polish frayed at the edges. "I'm sorry," he said, the words heavy. "I dragged you into this, and I didn't think." He trailed off, pacing. "I didn't think I'd care this much." My breath caught. "Care about what?" "Your image." He stopped, meeting my eyes. "You? Elliot." "I care about you." I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to believe him. But the USB? Klein. The secrets, they loomed too large. "Then why lie to me?" I asked. He sighed, sitting on the edge of his desk. "Because the truth could destroy us both. Klein's not just after me, he's after West Corp. If he exposes those deals, thousands lose their jobs. I'm trying to protect them. And you." I wanted to scream that I didn't need his protection, but the sincerity in his voice stopped me. Instead, I asked about the man in the photo from the USB. Julian's face darkened. His name was David. We were together years ago, before West Corp. He left when things got hard. His voice cracked. "I don't let people in anymore. But you. You're different." The air shifted. He stepped closer, and this time, I didn't pull away. His lips brushed mine, tentative, like he was asking permission. I kissed him back, and for a moment, the world disappeared. No cameras, no lies, just us. But reality crashed in. "This can't be real," I whispered. "Not with all these secrets." He nodded, his eyes haunted. "Give me time, Elliot. I'll fix this." Time ran out faster than either of us expected. Klein made his move, a new leak. This time with documents tying Julian to shady offshore accounts. The press went feral. Julian's team scrambled, but the damage was done. At a press conference, he stood alone, deflecting questions with his usual charm. I watched from the sidelines, torn. He was fighting for his empire. But what about us? That night, I found him on the rooftop where we'd almost kissed. He looked defeated, a rare crack in his armor. I'm losing everything, he said. I took his hand. Not everything. For the first time, I saw hope in his eyes. But hope was dangerous in a city that thrived on secrets. The city was a pressure cooker, and we were at its center. Julian fought back against Klein's leaks, his legal team working overtime to bury the evidence. But the court of public opinion was ruthless. Protesters gathered outside West Corp, demanding transparency. I stood by Julian, not as a prop, but because I couldn't walk away. Not anymore. We stopped pretending. At a quiet dinner in his penthouse, he told me everything about the deals, the payoffs, the mistakes he'd made to build his empire. I'm not a good man, Elliot, he said. But I want to be better. For you. I believed him. Not because I was naive, but because I saw the man behind the mask, a man who'd built walls to survive, but was finally letting them crack. Klein's final blow came at a gala meant to restore Julian's image. He crashed the event, shouting accusations, a USB in his hand. Security dragged him out, but the damage was done. Whispers spread, and Julian's face was stone. I grabbed his arm. We faced this together, I said. He nodded, and for the first time, we felt like a team. The next day, Julian called a press conference. No script, no team. Just him, raw and unfiltered. I've made mistakes, he said, cameras flashing. I hid who I was to protect my company. But I'm done hiding. Elliot Harper isn't just my fiancé, he's the man I love. The room went silent. My heart stopped. He hadn't warned me, but the look in his eyes said it all. This was real. The fallout was brutal. Some board members resigned, and stocks plummeted. But others rallied behind Julian, inspired by his honesty. My art became a symbol of our story. Galleries sold out, calling it the heartbeat of truth. Klein disappeared, his leverage gone. The city moved on, as it always did. Months later, we stood on that same rooftop. The city quieter now. Julian pulled me close. His ring, a real one this time, glinting on my finger. You saved me, he whispered. I shook my head. We saved each other. The lie that started it all had become our truth. A love forged in chaos, strong enough to outlast the city's judgment. The skyline stretched before us, a canvas of light and shadow. I wasn't just Elliot Harper, the nobody artist, anymore. I was the man who dared to love a king and won.